So we've talked about talked your background, talked about AI, machine learning, NLP. Okay, it's kind of like, so what and why are we hearing so much about it at this time? Especially, what you're doing at Tamarack is doing, bringing it to the equipment leasing and finance marketplace, and to some extent the banking marketplace. Why now? I mean, has it
Yeah.
become less expensive? What is it?
Well, it's a number of things. I recently interviewed a professor of data science from St. Thomas University here in Minnesota, Professor Manjeet Rege. He was somebody who grew up with his PhD during the time when data kind of changed, in the 80s and 90s. And I asked him, I said, why now? Why AI now? Why is everybody doing it? And he said, three things. First of all is the availability of data, lots of data. Second thing was basically unrestricted, cheap compute in the cloud, right? Almost zero cost. And the third was that other people had advanced the technology. People like Amazon, the neural nets people, they had advanced the technology so that it's applicable and published. So when you look at equipment finance, people in equipment finance, we know we work with Solify. They've been gathering digital data for 30 years, from leasing systems. There's a tremendous amount of data. Everybody has access to the cloud now, so we've got cheap compute. And to be honest, everybody has access to people that know how to do this, as well as tools that are already almost in a low code, no code model to help build things. And that's actually where Tamarack kind of stepped in. We said, you know what, we can do this fairly fast. We know what we need to do. We know the problems we need to solve, and we know the problems that our customers need to solve. So we put together things and kind of demonstrated proof of example. In 6 months, we had a system up and running with a live customer. That's what it took us, time and money. The technology is there, but most importantly, the data is there, Bob. Equipment finance companies have tremendous amounts of what they call dark data. IBM says 90% of all data is dark, meaning people take it, they store it, and then they forget about it. They don't look at it, they don't ask it any questions.
I guess when you think about all of the systems, you're right. Solify, LTI, and all the rest, right? I mean, we've been putting data into their front end and or their back end, and the front end being credit and sales, and then the back end booking, accounting, billing, collecting, all that kind of stuff. So we have, you're right, most of my clients have a lot of data. Is it necessary? So they got different systems, usually a front end, a back end are usually different, and there might be something else in there somewhere along the line as well. It might be a GL system separate, like you name it, Great Lakes, whatever it might be, Microsoft Dynamics. But then what do we do? Do we need to have a data mart? And what's the difference between a data mart and a data warehouse?
Okay, two questions there. First of all, do you need a data structure, let's call it, to store the data? And the answer is yes. And one of the things that you need to have a data schema that represents the business and has the right information. So then that leads to the second question. So data mart versus data warehouse. Typically, a data warehouse is truly a warehouse. It's all the data goes into a data warehouse. It's all there. It has structure, but it doesn't have purpose. A lot of times, a lot of people will say a purpose-built data mart. So we have a data mart that's built on top of the data structures that a customer will have. And we actually spoke to a customer the other day that, a very large customer, massive amounts of data from dozens of business units, right? They have a data lake. They call theirs a data lake, which is another name for data warehouse in our view. But they have multiple purpose-built data marts, and the data marts are, okay, we've got an equipment finance business. They need to know this type of information. They need these parameters. We'll put that into the data mart, and then we'll operate on only that data. So we save time and we save compute cost because we don't cycle through data that doesn't matter, so to speak. And so the data mart gives you an ability to attach purpose to your data warehouse. and then you start processing on the outcomes that you need. And that's something I really want to highlight, Bob, about the data for the past years. It's data that has not yet converged doesn't have as much value as data with outcomes. And that's the beautiful thing about equipment finance. If we've got customers that have 15 years of outcomes, and all of those outcomes can be judged by the business as good or bad or medium, or they can be ranked, and then you can target the outcomes that you want, and you can avoid the outcomes you don't with those machine learning prediction machines.
That's helpful. That's very helpful. Okay, so now we understand why it's come to the forefront. We'll stop here and we'll come back and we're going to go, okay, well, how does it help equipment leasing companies? What are some actual, some examples, real life, so we can kind of get our mind wrapped around it, okay?